Hi students, this is the continuation of the interrupts. So in that interrupt nesting, so the name itself specifies nesting is nothing but within the loop, okay? Within the one contains another one, okay? That is interrupt nesting is nothing but one interrupt contains another interrupt contains another interrupt, okay? So, a multiple priority scheme is implemented by using a separate INTR and INTA lines for each device. Okay, so each INTR line is assigned a different priority level. So, with the help of INTR and INTA line, we take that it as for each and every device. Okay, and each contain different priority levels. Based on the priority levels, we are going to be execute that interrupt first. Okay, priority level of processor is the priority of the program that currently being executed. So based on the priority, we execute that interrupt first. Okay, we execute that interrupt first. Okay, processor accepts interrupts only from devices that have higher priority than its own. Okay, so processor accepts which interrupt first means based on higher priority. Okay, which interrupt has higher priority, that interrupt accepts first. Okay, after that next priority interrupt. Okay, at the time of execution of ISR from some devices, priority of processor is raised to that of the device. Okay, so at the time of execution we identify the which interrupt has higher priority, so then that is going to be executed first. Okay, so thus interrupts from device at the same level of the priority or low are disabled. Okay, same level of priority interrupts are disabled. Okay, or else lower. Okay, while executing the higher priority interrupt, the rest of the all interrupts are going to be disabled. Okay, next one is privileged instructions. Okay, processor priority is encoded in a few bits of PS word. PS word is nothing but processor status. So what is the status of the processor? Based on the PS word, we can identify it. Okay, encoded bits can be changed by privileged instructions that write into PS. Okay, so whatever the bits are there that is going to be encoded, okay, can be changed by using a privileged instructions, means some conditions. Okay, already existing instructions. Okay, based on that instructions we are going to be encoded the bits. Okay, privileged instructions can be executed only while the processor is running in supervisor mode. Generally we have different modes are there. Okay, so in supervisor mode only privileged instructions executed. Okay, only in that mode only the privileged instructions is going to be executed. Okay, processor is in supervised mode only when executing operating system routines. That means this privileged instructions executed while starting the system. Okay, while starting the operating system, these privileged instructions are going to be executed. In that position the processor is in supervisor mode. Okay, so the processor running in this supervisor mode. Okay, so in this supervisor mode the processor is going to be execute that privileged instructions. When it means while executing the OS operating system routines. Okay, privileged exceptions, so exceptions are nothing but only errors. Okay, user program cannot accidentally or intentionally change the priority of the processor, means there is no possibility of there is no possibility to user intentionally change the priority of the processor. There is already default priorities are there. Okay, there is no possibility to user that in order to change the priority of the processor and disrupt the system operation. Okay, then attempt to execute a privileged instructions while in user mode. Okay, so another mode is user mode. Okay, so simultaneous request. So this is the diagram for interrupts of implementation of interrupt priority using interrupt request and acknowledgements. That means So in previous So in previous we discussed that is interrupt nesting. This is the diagram for interrupt nesting. So how we are going to execute interrupt nesting, nesting, okay, with the help of INTR and INTA. So each and every individual device contains this both, okay, individual request and individual acknowledgement. Okay, based on that we are going to be execute the interrupts. Okay, coming to the simultaneous requests. Okay, simultaneous is nothing but me parallelly. Okay, so if one work is done parallelly, another work is also uh, done. Okay, another work is also going to be also running. Okay, if one work is running simultaneously, another work is going to be running. Okay, so that is called simultaneous request. And that means at a time more request we are going to be handled. Okay, the processor must have some mechanism to decide which request to service when simultaneously requests arrives. Okay, so the processor have some mechanisms, okay, in order to handle the simultaneous requests. Okay, simultaneously more number of requests at a time. Okay, at a time more number of requests arise. So then the processor decides, uses some mechanisms, which request we take first and which request we take second. Okay, based on some mechanisms are there. Okay, INTR line is common to all devices, and INTA line is connected to a daisy chain fashion. That is daisy chain fashion is nothing but this is only. Okay, so INTA signal propagates serially through devices. Okay, so for request INTR request line is common to all devices. Okay, but INTA line means it is individual only. Okay, when a several devices raises an interrupt request, INTR line is activated. Okay, the processor responds by setting INTA line to 1, then signal is received by device 1. Okay, if we identify INTA line to 1, then means if you send a request, all INTR lines are going to be enabled. After that, if we see the line 1, okay, if you see the INTA line for device 1 is activated, then we identified, we accept. Okay, we identify the device 1 is enabled. Okay, so by seeing this one, okay, by seeing this one signal, one means number one. Okay, by seeing this we identify INTA line for device 1 is activated. Okay, device 1 passes signals to device 2 only if does not require any service. Means if device 1 does not require any service, it sends that request to device 1. Okay, if device 1 has pending request for interrupt, the device 1 blocks INTA signal and proceeds to put identify code on data lines. Okay, device that is electrically closer to processor that has highest priority. Okay, so based on the priority only we execute that device first. Okay, advantage is that it requires fewer wires than individual connections. Means here less wires are required. Okay, so this is the diagram for simultaneous requests. Okay, next coming to exceptions. So exceptions, an interrupt is an event, okay, that causes exception of one program to be suspended, or and exception of another program to begin. Okay, where this exception rises, okay, that means an interrupt is an event. Okay, that is one event, so we need to perform an action that particular event. Okay, so you learn this one is in your Java also, event handling. Okay, there if any event is there, we need to perform an action for that, for handling that event. Okay, so here interrupting is event that causes execution of one program to be suspended and execution of another program to begin. Coming to the exception, exception refers to an event that causes an interruption. Means exception is refers to an event that causes it suspends the current running program. Okay, that is called only the interruption. Okay, whatever the current running program is going to be interrupted. Okay, for example, input and output interrupts are there. So how we are going to be recover errors, recovery from errors? So these are the techniques to ensure that all hardware components are operating properly. Okay, so in order to rectify the errors, some techniques are there. So based on some techniques, we operate all components in proper way. That is, for example, many computers included ECC in memory, which allows detection of errors in stored data. So with the help of ECC, we identify the errors in the stored data. Okay, so that is error checking code. Okay, coming to errors, exception service routine. So by if we identify the error in that by using ESR, we handle that one. Okay, coming to the, if an error occurs, control hardware detects the errors and informs the processor by raising an interrupt. So if any error rises, okay, then then this control hardware sends a request to the processor. They're raising an with the help of interrupt. Okay, with the help of interrupt, it sends a request to the processor. Here, error identified. Okay, then when exception processing is initiated, as a result, that means in order to rectifying those errors, we send a request to the processor. Okay, with the help of interrupt. Okay, suspends the program being executed. Then the processor suspends the program being executed and starts CSR. That means exception service routine. For in order to handling that errors, it starts ESR. This routine takes appropriate action to recover from the error. Okay, means exceptions are only the errors. So in order to rectify the errors, the processor sends, means the control hardware sends a request to the processor. Here some errors are raised with the help of interrupt. Okay, so then the processor suspends the current, whatever the current running program, it stops that program and then starts ESR. So in order to handling the errors, that is ESR is nothing but exception service routine. Okay, sorry. So coming to debugging. Okay, debugging is nothing but is used to find errors in a program and uses exceptions. Here debugger is there. Okay, to provide two important facilities, that is trace and breaking points. So first we have to trace where the error occurs. Okay, then we need to stop that error. First we place breakpoint in that. Okay, so see there what is a trace and what is a breakpoints. See here, when a processor is when processor is operating in a trace mode, an exception occurs after the execution of every instruction. A debugging program enables user to examine contents of the register, memory locations and so on. Nothing but debugging program enables the user in order to examine the what is the position, what is the contents of the register and memory locations and so on. So on return from debugging program, after tracing the debugging program, this next instruction in a program being debugged executed. Being debugged is executed. Then the debugged program is activated again. So this process is going on. If any instruction is going to be executed, then this debugger also activates the then this debugger is in tracing mode. It traces all the contents. Okay, it traces all the contents where the error rises. Okay, it traces all the program. Okay, for example, if you take a program generally in C program, first we have to trace out the program where the error occurs, where if any exception rises. Okay, general process is there. Before going to compilation or execution of a program, first we have to trace the program. We have to trace entire program. Okay, that is F7 is, I think F7 is there in your C program. So in order to trace all the program, okay, first that's why here one tracer is there. So in tracer mode, it traces all the data first. Okay, then the breaking point, here the program being debugged is interrupted only at specific points selected by the user. So after tracing that, we understand where the error is occurred, okay, where the error is going to be occurred, okay. Then we place that a breakpoint on that, okay. Then an instruction called a trap, okay, is usually provided for this purpose, okay. For providing it breakpoints, we used a trap, okay. When the program is executed and reaches a breakpoint, the user can examine memory and register contents. Means in previous we traced all the contents. Then if again a program is executed and reaches the breakpoint, then user again examine the memory and register contents. Next, privilege exceptions. So, in order to protect OS from being corrupted by the user programs, means uh, if you start a system, then the privileged instructions executed. Sometimes these privileged programs, these privileged instructions corrupted. So, in order to reduce that corruption, okay, to protect the OS from being corrupted by the user programs, privileged instructions are executed only while the processor is in supervised mode. Means uh, in order to reduce the corruption, okay, in order to reduce the corruption by user programs, the privileged instructions are executed only at supervised mode only. So that means user programs are executed in user mode, okay. These privileged instructions are executed in supervised mode, so there is no need to corrupt, there is no possibility to corrupt the privileged privileged instructions, okay. For example, when a processor run in user mode, it will not execute instructions that change priority of the processor. Means if it is in a user mode, it execute at user programs only, okay. An attempt to execute privileged instructions will produce a, any situation rises, that is an attempt to execute a privileged instructions will produce a privileged exceptions, okay. As a result, processor switch it to supervised mode and begins to execute the appropriate routine instance. Whenever if you want to execute privileged instruction, okay, automatically raises a privileged exception. Then processor identifies there is a there is a there is a situation occurs in order to execute the privileged instructions. Then the processor switches user mode to supervised mode, okay, to begins and execute an appropriate routines in OS. Okay, so this is the interrupts, okay. So in interrupts, how we are going to be handle interrupt nesting concept, this is the continuation of interrupts only, okay. Okay students, thank you.